Shalom, Mispacha family. Today, as I was doing some work around the house, I just was researching in between, and I was thinking about, the video I produced yesterday and wanted to share a few more things. I know that this is not easy to even think about, and I know that there is, a lot of us being able to share much truth on these phones, on these devices, but I think we have to look at the bigger picture, towards the end here. And I have some really interesting and convincing things to share with you all, with some definitions and things that are real simple to see. But I feel that a lot of this is in plain sight. But first, I have a few questions, and things I wanted to talk about. Many years ago, when I first came into this truth, I was very, very sensitive to things as far as what the Ruach was showing me. And I didn't even want to have a television in my room, or, I put myself away from the cell phone for, the smartphone for about 2 years, because I had at the time this sort of addiction to scrolling on Instagram, looking at photos, and that once in a while pictures of the opposite sex would come up. Whether you're a man or a woman, it seems that the enemy always tries to put up things, and we have no control over it sometimes, because social media, or the medium, they will throw these things in front of your face, and if you're not careful, you will look upon them, and it will cause you to Chatah, or transgress. We do not have this in our heart, and I believe that we have overcome these things, and I have overcome the temptation of lusts and these things, but it is still something that we must not look upon, and I think that these devices are constantly throwing things that Hasatan wants to trap us into our vision by images, and it's a temptation. So how many of you have been scrolling, and then all of a sudden something really disturbing shows up in your screen, even if it's on YouTube, and you have, for the most part, only positive things, and you follow positive people and people that are of Yahuah and ministries? Every once in a while, there is still something that the enemy throws in there that you don't want to see, and you scroll past it really quickly. Well, even the words scroll or scrying are very similar, because we know what scrying is, and I'm going to share some of those definitions. But let's start here with the word media, which is basically the plural, I believe. Yeah, and I'll show you that, where it's of mediums. And there's some different definitions here, and I underlined this one. An intervening substance as air through which a force acts or an effect is produced. All right, so we know that the evil rule code is trying to come in between us and Yahuah, right? Hasatan, the prince of the air, right? And mediums, are basically, as we know in the old times through the scriptures, divination, all those things, a person through whom the spirits or rukoth of the dead are alleged to be able to contact the living. All right. So just wanted to share these things with you. I know you probably already know this, but it's the means of communication, right? And every time we go on to these devices with black screens, and it is a mirror, and mirrors are what they use in divination, right? So doom scrolling, which you and I may not do, maybe we don't scroll for negative things, but this is a term that was coined back during the COVID-19 because so many people wanted to see what was going on and they didn't want to miss it about the mask, the masks and what was going on with the jab in the arm and all those things. And what was happening, it was all by design. And the practice of obsessively checking online news for updates, especially on social media feeds, with the expectation that the news will be bad, such as that the feeling of dread from the negative expectation fuels a compulsion to continue looking for updates in a self-perpetuating cycle. I'm kind of going the wrong way with these slides, I know, because this is just different sources of the same thing, but the concept was basically started back during the COV time, right? And it's become something that, if you look down here, just really is a disorder, but it also affects mental health, right? Physical and mental health. Salaki for some of these words. I know they have MEN. May Yahuah just help us with these words. I know that a lot of these words are unclean. I pray in the mighty name of Yahuah that they have no attachment to us. But for educational purposes here, I'm just going to read some of these things. All right. You can see also by reading on the screen. But some of the things I wanted to share was this. When mediums, people that are doing divination and things, they use a mirror as one of the ways to do this. Staring into a mirror. Well, when you look at your phone, the first thing you see is yourself because it is a mirror. And also called a Chatah, or to receive images. So what do we do when we go on the internet? There's nothing but images that we are seeing when we go to find out about someone or something that is happening, right? And you're delving into the future to see what's going to happen. It's kind of this similar thing that they do when they scry. The definition of scrying is the practice used for divination where individuals gaze into a reflective surface to receive visions or messages. The term comes from the Old English word descry, meaning to see or reveal. It is often associated with fortune telling and spiritual guidance. All right, so it's all right in front of our faces, everyone, and so yeah, I mean, this is just basically the same definitions, but I'm sure a few different ones here. So in this one it says, it's obsessively checking for online news and updates. So it's not just about the bad news. A lot of times people are just obsessively looking to see about updates, and we're all probably guilty of this because we want to see what someone has said on our channels, which that's another word that is wicked, because channeling something is, just go look up all these words. You have media and medium and channeling and scrying and scrolling, and it's pretty obvious what these devices are being used for. Okay, but the only reason I'm sharing this, everyone, is that we have to be sensitive to what the Ruach is showing us. And, we all kind of become complacent or say, well, there's so much sharing and tube things that we do with these phones. And yes, there's a majority of things that we do that are acceptable. But we have to understand that there are things, and I know I'm not going to go into detail about this, but there are things that have caused people, even on this walk, to see things on their phones that has caused them to look upon things that they should not look upon. And this is a form of sin or Chatah, because unless we have protection and we don't let these things in, of course, but through these subliminal messages and through all of this, algorithms, just think about these words, algorithms, a computer system that basically submits what it thinks you should see next, or things that you will be interested in, to keep you hooked and addicted to scrolling and looking to the future of what could or may happen, like a crystal ball. I mean, we just have to really think about these things, everyone. And I know that when I was convicted long ago to literally delete the Instagram app, because it was just causing me to look upon things that I did not want to look upon. And I know that Facebook is probably worse, because they're constantly throwing things in your face there. But YouTube does it also. And so all I'm trying to say is this is not a comfortable conversation and thing to really think about. But I just want to, to bring everyone's attention to this, that we have to consider all the things that we are doing. And I feel that this snare that has been made starts to become such a part of everyone's life that they basically think that there's nothing wrong with it, and they don't want to get rid of it. They don't think that it's something that we need to get rid of, because we're also doing, other positive work. But I think that there is a time for all of this. But I do believe that, we should be willing to come out of all things that are not of Yahuah, right? And I don't know. I just feel that I'm not saying how or when or if anyone should do it now, but it's all up to you and Yahuah, right? And for me, I know that time is coming where I'm going to just, slowly or suddenly disconnect from doing all of this, because it's just something that I think we don't fully understand. There is, now I'm not going to share this as far as like links and things, but there are people that have found, that there are even evil rule Koth attached to devices and things, and they've seen things, and people have put, I don't know if this is completely true, but people have put their phones in the microwaves and seen like demonic things come out of it, and just all kinds of weird things. Don't do that, by the way. I'm not saying to do that, but there's just, so much wickedness, that is housed with these little pocket computers. And just think about right now, here I am sitting in front of a screen talking to a rectangle, a rectangle device, so that I can meet and speak to you, communicate with you all. So there is something in between me and you, right? There is a medium, something in between me and you. And this is just very odd. Just like we are not to have any other mediator in between us and Yahuah, we have put things voluntarily in between us and other people, and in between us and the Most High. And so it is just something to really think about. And, there are so many things that are linked to this that I can't even begin to get into. They want to take it even beyond the cell phone, right? They want to put, Neuralink and all kinds of things inside people. So you won't even necessarily need a cell phone. But we won't be going that way. But you have to ask yourself in these times, like, when is the time when we say enough is enough? Or I will no longer walk down this road of mixing data and me and mediums and media and social addictions and all of this stuff into our lives, because it's just not healthy. It's not healthy in the long run. And when you put these things down, you walk outside, you see the night sky and the stars, you see the sun and the rivers and the flowers, and you see other people, and there's so much effects that this causes for our health too, and even our eyes. So I'm just going to end with that, but just think about all these words and these things that we are doing, like scrolling and scrying with a mirror. And I know that many of you have already thought about these things and realized these things, but how sensitive are we to hearing Yahuah's Ruach? We constantly are checking these phones to be updated. But how often are we checking on a daily basis with Yahuah to update with him, right? And there's many testimonies out there of people that have gotten away from these devices, and it has improved their lives in many ways, right? So it's just something to think about, everyone. And I know that these are not the most, fun things to hear, but the truth is the truth, and we must consider all things that we are entering into. And there is just so much happening that we don't understand, and that is why I feel the Ruach has been giving me these things to say, because at some point here, it's going to be that we're going to be kicked out of this system anyways. And so why not start the process of unplugging, as much as we can before we are unplugged from everything. And, there's a lot of things that we will not be able to participate in, but that is okay, because we are made to be separate and set apart from all wickedness. We are not of the world, and therefore the world hates us. And anyone that, loves the world will love all these things. But I personally like reaching and helping people, but I do not like, all the devices that we have to use in order to do it. And so with that being said, everyone, I pray and mah-al-awl that you would consider and bring all these things to Yahuah and just ask, what is to be done and when it is to be done, so that we can perform His will. And this is all about being kodash, washed clean, that we would not walk in uncleanness, but we would walk in the renewedness and the clean things that Yahuah is trying to show us. Clean food, clean behaviors, clean words, dabarim, all these things. So with that being said, everyone, I love each and every one of you. I mah-al-awl that you are having a yapah, beautiful Yom day, and that you will just bring these things to Yahuah and see what He says to each of us about this particular subject. All right, until next time, shalom.